Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football postgame show. Well, the Broncos had a chance, but were not able to get over that hurdle, and that 64-yard field goal that Brandon McManus kicked went wide right as the Seattle Seahawks were able to prevail and beat the Denver Broncos and go to 1-0 by the final score of 17-16 at Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. The Broncos kicker Brandon McManus tried to kick a 64-yard field goal and missed it. It went wide right. So that was basically the story. Now, I'm going to recap the game for you right now. The first quarter, the Broncos went 3 out up to 7 plays and 38 yards at the time of possession, and then had to go 3 out, had to punt. And then the Broncos had after 7 plays had 7 yards, but they had a downs. It was 4th and goal. Geno Smith up the middle to Denver 7 for no gains, so they had to punt, and then the Broncos got as close as the Seattle 12, and they settled for a Brandon McManus 30-yard field goal, which was good. It was 3-0 Broncos. And then the Seattle Seahawks scored their first touchdown of the game. Geno Smith pass short left to Disley for the 38-yard touchdown, and it was 7-3 Seattle at the end of the first quarter. The extra point was good. And then Seattle had gotten the ball back after Denver had the punt, and then they got and they tried to get into the end zone at the Denver 31. Justin Myers kicked a 49-yard field goal. It was good. It was 10-3 Seattle. So, and then, come on. The Denver Broncos scored their first touchdown of the game. Russell Wilson's pass deep left to Jake Judy for the 67-yard touchdown. And Bobin Moyer's extra point was good. And it was 17-10 Broncos. Or Seattle, excuse me. No, Broncos, yeah. It was 17-10 Broncos. And then it was 17-10 Seahawks, excuse me. No, Broncos, excuse me. And then the Broncos got the ball back because they had to. And Seattle kicked another field goal. It was 17. It was 13-10, and then Seattle got the ball. Then the Broncos got the ball back, and then it was. They got as close as Seattle 22 and kicked the field goal. It was 40-yard one by Brandon McManus, and I'm so sorry I had my head turned. And it was Brandon McManus. And then it was and the field goal was good, and it was 17-13 at the half. And the third quarter, both the Broncos had a fumble. It was a 4th and goal. Melvin Gordon right tackle Seattle for no gain, and then Diggs fumbles recovered by Seattle's Mark Jackson at the Seattle 10 for 8 yards. The official reviewed the fumble ruling, and the play was upheld. The ruling on the field would stand, and that's why it ruled in a fumble. And then the Then the Seattle fumbled. And then it was at 1st and 10. Geno Smith passed short right to DK Metcalf for Seattle 47 for 1 yard, and then Robert Gregory fumbled, recovered by Denver and Simmons at the Justin Simmons at the Seattle 49, and he was pushed out of bounds at the Seattle 32 for 17 yards, and then the Broncos had another fumble, and it was at third goal. Williams up the middle to Seattle for 3. The Seattle 3 for a -2 yards, and fumbles was New Orleans recovered by Seattle. Mark Jackson at the Seattle 1 for a touchback, and the Seattle had 9 plays and 16 yards, and at the punt, it was still 17-13 at the end of the third quarter. In the fourth, the Denver Broncos got as close as Seattle. They kicked a field goal, and it was a 26-yard. It was good. It was 17-16. And then Seattle went 3 down and had to punt. And the Broncos have one last shot. They got as close as the Seattle 46, and Brandon McManus kicked a 64-yard field goal. It was missed. It was no good. And Seattle, all they had to do was just take a couple of knees. And nonetheless, the Seattle Seahawks have won this game by the final score of 17-16. I wanted to give the game balls to Denver, but I got to give it to Seattle. Geno Smith, 23 of 28 carries and attempts, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think it's Rashad Penny, 12 attempts, 60 yards, and Will Dissly. I couldn't remember. It's 3 receptions, 43 yards, 1 touchdown. So, boy, this was just a fun week of football in week 1. Week 2, we have a good Thursday night matchup, which will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers at Arrowhead Stadium in KC on Thursday night football. And Sunday night will be a classic matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. We're going to have 2 Monday night games for you next week. The Tennessee Titans will travel to Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. And as the Bills will try to go to 2-0, and Tennessee will try to get their first win of the season, and that'll be at 7:15. And at 8:30, the Minnesota Vikings will go to Philadelphia, and we'll try to go to 2-0. Philadelphia will try to go to 2-0 as well. And the Minnesota will play the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia at Lincoln Memorial Stadium in Philadelphia. And then for Sunday, Miami will play Baltimore we'll play the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. The Browns will play host to the New York Jets and try to go to 2-0 here at First Energy Stadium. Indianapolis will travel to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Brady and the Bucks travel to New Orleans to play the Saints. The Carolina Panthers travel to MetLife Stadium in New York to play the New York Giants. They'll try to get their first win, and the Giants try to go to 2-0. The Patriots travel to Pittsburgh. They will play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Commanders travel to Ford Field, Detroit to play the Detroit Lions. The Seattle Seahawks will play San Francisco in San Francisco, and that'll be at Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The Atlanta Falcons will play the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams will be looking for their first win. That'll be at SoFi Stadium. Houston travels to Denver to play the Broncos. Both teams will try to look for their first win. Arizona plays host to the Raiders. And that'll be in Las Vegas. And Cincinnati will travel to Big D to play the Dallas Cowboys. And both those teams try to get their first win as well. But tonight, Week 1 is in the books. And the Seattle Seahawks beat the Denver Broncos 17-16. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football post-game show. I'll be back Thursday or for Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football pregame show and postgame show. Or one of my regular ones. Let's think about mainly Thursday Night Football. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day and every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.